I want to start giving some thank yous to some people that have done just great work for us in the district this year. And I'll be doing this throughout the conference through tomorrow noon. But to start off, I want to thank Jackie Dorothy from the Rotary Club in Thermopolis for being our public image chair. I also want to thank Steve Mish from the Estes Valley Sunrise Club. He's our Interact chair. Kirsten Malm from Cheyenne, our Rotaract chair. Beth Vandewey from Cheyenne, who is the chair of Cowboy Country Youth Exchange. Karen Trussler from the Windsor Club, who is the chair of the Rocky Mountain RILA committee this year, and she's also worked and helped to revamp Rotary Leadership Institute. Dale Malady from the Casper Five Tails Club, who has taken on the chairmanship of our visioning committee and the revamping that Cherie led as far as our visioning program for clubs. And he's just done a marvelous job this year. I want to acknowledge Bill Timpson from the Fort Collins Rotary Club, who's been our Peace Builder chair. He's done a wonderful job of keeping the idea of peace building to the fore in District 5440, and he's done a beautiful job on the Peace Builder newsletter. For Judy Boggs from the Fort Collins Club for being the Polio Plus sub-chair for many years and continuing that fight, and that we are doing so well now that we heard from Vicki in terms of getting rid of polio in the world. And then finally, Rajiv Mehta from the Fort Collins area for the Friendship Exchange. We haven't been able to do that from the pandemic, but a couple of years ago, we had a wonderful Friendship Exchange from some people from England, and they were an absolute blast to have dinner with in Loveland, and we really enjoyed it. I also want to thank and acknowledge our assistant governors that are going on and will continue to be assistant governors next year. Joe Aschenbrenner, who handles the I-25 clubs of Johnstown, Milliken, and Windsor. Kathy Grossbeck, who handles the Estes Park clubs. Robin Sims in Cheyenne, Wyoming, with the Cheyenne clubs. Albin Shaw, who is our assistant governor in Casper and Douglas, Wyoming. John Hanson, who handles Torrington, Morrill, and Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Scott Daly up in the Jackson Hole area, including Driggs, Idaho, the Teton Valley. Pete Youngers out in Sterling, Colorado, and Julesburg, Colorado. Jim Moylan, who handles our clubs in Steamboat Springs and Craig, Colorado. Maureen Boddicker, who is doing such a wonderful job in Laramie and Rawlins, Wyoming. And Kurt Hopkin, who's up in Cody and Powell, Wyoming. I just want to thank them for their work this year and their continued work. I'll have some more thanks for other folks who have done stuff for the district, but I'd really like to start to tell you about some clubs and some people that have done some special things this year. We got to do some new awards this year at the district level because as odd as this has been, but we wanted to acknowledge clubs, especially around our theme this year of opening up opportunities. So I'm going to start off with some clubs and acknowledge some specific creative fundraisers that they have. And I've got 3 clubs that we're going to acknowledge. The first is the Rotary Club of Steamboat Springs for their Rotary Poker Run. This was a new fundraiser that was developed and implemented in less than a month, and it was an immediate success with 24 sponsors. Over 100 snowmobiles entered this course to ride roughly 4 hours to seven separate check-in locations in North Routt County and choose a playing card for a poker hand. There were 118 hands played by snowmobile riders from all over Northwest Colorado. After some expenses, roughly $22,000 was raised for the communities to support local businesses affected by COVID through the purchase of gift cards as door prizes, $5,000 to our partner in this event, which was the Steamboat Lake Snow Club, and the beneficiary of Lift Up Routt County, which has seen a 233% increase in their services due to COVID. There was a $1,000 grand prize winner, and they were so impressed with the mission of this fundraiser that they donated their entire prize back to the community. So congratulations, Rotary Club of Steamboat Springs, for the Rotary Poker Run fundraiser. To the Rotary Club of Estes Park, who for years has had a very famous duck race that took place at the beginning of May in the Fall River, which at times can be very cold and very challenging. But with COVID, they had to do 2 different things. So in 2020, The Rotary Cup Duck Race Festival happened in the fall, and it was the virtual Rotary Duck Race. So they figured out how to do a duck race virtually, which was amazing. This year, they just had their duck race for 2021 at the beginning of May, and this was a live stream duck race. It didn't happen in Fall River running through the middle of Estes Park. They did it in the community center, and they, let's see, it went with, they've got a little stream that they can use inside the air inside the community center to do this. So it was warm water and it all worked out really well. So they participated, all the participating organizations in the Estes Park Valley received close to $119,000 from this fundraiser from the Estes Park Rotary Club. So I just wanted to acknowledge them for figuring out how to take a duck race and turn it into something completely new and different and make it totally successful. So congratulations to the Rotary Club of Estes Park.
Okay.
The third fundraiser that I wanted to acknowledge as opening opportunities is from the Rotary Club of Sheridan, Wyoming. And this is for their ice fishing derby. There were 377 registered anglers that came from as far as Billings, Cheyenne, Cody, Lander, Casper, and Douglas. The weather was less than desirable, as it can be in northern Wyoming, but the participants came well dressed and the lake was covered with ice huts. It was truly fabulous to see it. 2 tagged fish were caught out of 200. They had 3 $1,000 winners, 2 $300 winners, and 2 $200 door prizes were given out. They used the proceeds this way. They protected their local creeks and streams, Frog Creek gutter installation in Sheridan. They also supported mentorship for kids learning to fish, and they aided in efforts to provide clean water project schoolhouse. Their finalized numbers indicate that they probably made in excess of $25,000. That was 4 times their goal for this very new fundraiser. So congratulations to the Rotary Club of Sheridan. This year, I wanted to acknowledge specific Rotary spirit. It's been a tough year, I'll tell you. We've all gotten sick of being on Zoom. There have been some good things about Zoom, but we're sick of being on Zoom and we want to be together. And Rotary spirit to me is something where people in an everyday, quiet way make their presence known as Rotarians in their community. And we have an organization that's new to District 5440 that I particularly wanted to acknowledge. And this is the birthed satellite of the Loveland Rotary Club. A couple of years ago, some people in Berthoud, Colorado decided it was time that there needed to be a Rotary presence in a town in northern Colorado that we had never had a Rotary Club before. And Berthoud, Colorado, for those of you that don't know, is just over the line from District 5450, which is the Denver district. It's one of the towns here in Larimer County. And we had a committed group of 17, 18 Rotarians get together and form a satellite of the Loveland Rotary Club and start to do Rotary work in Berthoud, Colorado. And they just keep it up like gangbusters. They're out there at the farmers markets, they're ringing bells at Christmas time, they're participating in the fundraisers for the Loveland Rotary Club because they're members of that club, and they really keep that Rotary spirit alive. And they've kept their numbers up, they've kept their people and their enthusiasm, and I particularly want to acknowledge Ken and Jan Grack, who have been Sergeant at Arms at our district conferences for many years. You'll see them with their funny hats and their Sergeant at Arms jackets on, but thank you, Ken and Grack, for being the nucleus of the new Berthoud satellite. Keep up, and I can't wait until you charter to become a Rotary Club. Thank you. So for Rotary Spirit, the Berthoud satellite of the Loveland Rotary Club. This was also an interesting year, and I wanted to acknowledge overcoming adversity. All of our clubs in District 5440 have been overcoming adversity this year, but there have been a few clubs that have had a little bit more on their plate than the rest of us have. And I'm going to acknowledge the 3 clubs in Estes Park, and let me tell you why. It's the Estes Park Rotary Club, the Estes Valley Sunrise Club, and the Longs Peak Rotary Club. In addition to dealing with all of the pandemic issues that they've had to deal with, and in a resort town like Estes Park, that also means having a real hit on your businesses. That's a tourist-based town. And when tourism goes down, it's tough times in the community. I remember that when they had the flood in 2013 and they had to come back from that as 3 clubs. But this year, on top of all of the stuff with the pandemic, between October 22nd and October 25th, the entire town of Estes Park had to evacuate because the 2 largest wildfires in Colorado history were coming straight for the town. One had come across the mountains from Grand County and was threatening the west side, and the other one had come across from Cameron Pass and was threatening the north side of Estes Park. And so under very, very black skies of ash, which we even saw in Greeley, the people in Estes Park had to pack up and they had to evacuate. First, they started with the west side, and by the 25th, they were all the way to the east side of town. And I spoke to each of the Rotary presidents as they were evacuating. They were in their cars. Only traffic could leave Estes Park. Nobody could come back into town. And they were on their way to the shelters provided by the American Red Cross. They kept in touch with each other. They kept in touch with their community, and they were resilient. And I was just so incredibly impressed and proud of what the Rotarians in Estes Park did. And they came back when they were able to and got busy with Rotary in their town. So I want to acknowledge, in terms of overcoming opportunities, the 3 clubs in Estes Park. Congratulations on showing us the way on how to overcome adversity. I also want to acknowledge the Rotary Club of Windsor, Colorado. They had some specifics and very significant issues within their club. And I think a lot of that got fueled by the pandemic. But the club and its board were able to resolve these issues. They carried on growing the club and bringing new members in. They got through their difficult time. They charted a positive course. They've even kept installing little libraries all over Windsor, which is one of their big projects. And they've kept on doing that through this difficult time. They persevered. I want to give a special thanks to President Chris Kazian, who stepped in as club president, for his leadership and for helping them through this difficult time. So please help me in acknowledging the Rotary Club of Windsor for overcoming adversity in this year. One of these days, we'll be able to have a Rotary Club meeting where we don't say, "But you're muted, I can't hear you," or "Please mute, I'm hearing your dogs," or whatever else we're doing. But we have learned a lot about how to do virtual meetings, and we're a whole lot better than we were 15 months ago when we started this. But we've got one particular club that is very dynamic. They have really led the way in producing wonderful virtual meetings. They always had great in-person meetings, but they took that same spirit and translated it into a virtual meeting. They've been able to have Rotarians from all over the place join in their meetings, and they've just really kept up that spirit. So I want to acknowledge the Rotary Club of Lander, Wyoming, for really leading the way in producing wonderful virtual meetings. And President John, I know you're on. Congratulations for doing such a great job and showing us how to do it. I also this year wanted to give some special citations based on recommendations from the assistant governors for some presidents that have really, in their own ways, have been hugely important to their clubs and hugely important to their communities. And the first president I want to acknowledge with a special governor citation is Louise Bates from the Greeley After Hours Club. Louise has done a wonderful job steadying the ship of a very small Greeley club. They've had their ups and downs this year, but they've continued to hold their fundraisers and have continued to meet on a regular basis. She's got a calm, wonderful way of working with everyone. And it's really saying a lot for a small club to be able to thrive in this kind of an environment. So congratulations, Louise, and the Greeley After Hours Rotary Club. I also want to acknowledge the Johnstown Milliken Rotary President, Clay Olson. He's on his second year as being president. I kind of know a little about that, being district governor for the second year. But the Johnstown Milliken Club, when they closed up their venue at Johnson's Corner, and those of you will know that who's ever driven along I-25, They didn't meet for a while, but Clay kept them together, and now they're being able to meet at the new rec center in Johnstown. He's took on the responsibility of being the leader for that club and holding steady, keeping them going with the projects and the connections and the fellowship that they have. And I just really wanted to give that special governor citation to Clay for all of that effort that he's made and the difference he has made to the Johnstown Milliken Rotary Club, which is, I think, in its 86th or 87th year. So thank you, Clay, and thank you to the Johnstown Club of Rotary, or Johnstown Milliken Rotary Club. Third on the list is Scott Bright from the Greeley Rotary Club that used to meet here in this building. Scott's been a strong and steady club president this year. They had a hard time converting to Zoom and then converting to hybrid, but he did it. It took them a while to get their members to accept Zoom and to begin regular meetings again, but Scott stuck with it. He gained the members' confidence and built up the meeting structure so that the club returned to being themselves again. He's been diligent in meeting with our DGE and our DGN quarterly and with other Greeley area presidents. He sat in on district calls, and he's joined the club in Loveland a time or two to scope out how to do hybrid meetings better. They've also had the loss of many good members in the Greeley Club this year, and his quiet leadership has helped the club grieve and heal after these many losses of friends and community leaders. So I want to acknowledge and thank Scott Bright from the Greeley Rotary Club for all of his efforts as president this year. And then finally, in this group, there's my friend Zach Padilla from the Jackson Hole Supper Club. When I visited that club in the fall of 2019, we had a very serious conversation in that club meeting about whether that club should even exist. They had shrunk down to a very few members. This was before the pandemic. And they were meeting, people were sort of coming, but not really. They weren't sure what direction they wanted to go. They weren't sure what their Rotary why was. And so I had that conversation with Zach, and Zach's a young guy. He's kind of a firebrand up in Jackson Hole. He's a mover and shaker. And he looked at me and he said, you know what? And he was president-elect at that time, so I need to make that clear. He says, I think we're going to do it. Well, he has done it. They have increased their membership. They had very successful fundraisers. Zach is proud, and I am proud of Zach, and I am proud of the Jackson Hole Supper Club for what they have achieved. So congratulations, Zach, and congratulations to the Jackson Hole Supper Club. And then we get to the real President of the Year and Club of the Year. And these were nominated by the assistant governors, and our governor team looked at those nominations and helped to make the decision on who we were going to acknowledge for President of the Year and Club of the Year. And we split them into two sizes. We decided that the experience of a small club is significantly different from that of a big club, and it was only fair to break those in two so that we could acknowledge the efforts of both sides of clubs. So this year we broke it at 50. If you were 50 and less, you were in the small club group. If you were greater than 50, you were in the large club group. So we got the nominations from the assistant governors, and we looked at them, and we came to a unanimous decision, which was just terrific. So let's start off with the small clubs. President of the Year is being awarded to Kevin Morgridge, the president of the Casper Reveille Rotary Club. She not only managed to maintain engagement through the pandemic, but she's increased engagement and membership. It's even more impressive given that the average age of the membership is fairly high, and they meet at a senior center that obviously has been closed even longer than other facilities. Kevin is a wonderful president. She's a wonderful Rotarian. She's on the screen. Kevin, congratulations. Thank you for everything that you're doing for your club. And we are so happy to award you the President of the Year for Small Club for District 5440 for 2021. Congratulations, Kevin. Now for the Small Club of the Year. Again, that was done based on less than 50. And based on the nominations submitted by the assistant governors and reviewed by the governor team. The small club of the year this year is the Cheyenne Rotary After Hours Club. They have fewer than 20 members, but they continue to lead the Cheyenne community, included but not limited to the other Rotary clubs, in feeding the hungry through their produce project. They harness the power of over 100 community volunteers and 159 volunteer hours. 9,500 pounds of produce was donated by Miller Family Farms and distributed to Need Incorporated and other Laramie County food banks in Laramie County, Wyoming. In addition, this small but mighty club plants flowers at the Botanic Gardens, distributes books to some underserved Cheyenne second graders, holds a 5K each December to raise money for End Polio, and they make such a difference in the Cheyenne, Wyoming community. Congratulations to Judy Fossum Mathern, the president of that club, and the Cheyenne Rotary After Hours Club for being our outstanding small club for 2020-2021. There's Judy. Now on to the large clubs, and these are larger than 50. This year, we are awarding the President of the Year to the large clubs to the President of the Rotary Club of Steamboat Springs, Jillian Morris. They have increased membership. They have, there she is, and they're having a house party at DGND Steve Seinert's house. They have been involved in all kinds of community projects. The Rotary Fa La La that was mentioned by Director-elect Vicki, that was a lot of fun where they really helped their local businesses and communities. And I had such a good time being Santa Claus and reading 3 books that we taped and sent up there for that community. And thank you, Jillian, for asking us to do that. They did a thank-you-ary. The month of January 2021 became thank-you-ary, which was an idea that President Jillian originated. The plan was a challenge to all club members to say thank you to one person each day for the entire month of January. With pre-printed Rotary logo cards and envelopes, members were requested to handwrite and mail thank you cards each day for 31 days to a suggested list of recipients, including teachers, parents, children, nurses, doctors, postal workers, restaurant workers, police officers, and many more. They estimate that at least 1,500 cards were mailed with local newspaper coverage. They got wonderful feedback to club members. So that was a good one. And we've already talked about the Rotary Poker Run that they received acknowledgement for, which is a great idea. Also good news, so far this year, a record amount of contributions totaling over $26,800 has been raised for post-high school scholarships through members who want to share their good news with other members in the club during their virtual meetings. In previous years, the amount has been averaging approximately $12,000. Way to go, Rotary Club of Steamboat Springs. You guys have a lot of great news up there. Thank you for that. They staffed a farmers market and they did local community grants. They've been involved in national and international projects in Agua Prieta, Fronteras, Mexico, the Zimbabwe Water Global Project, and they also gave $1,500 for 14ers for Shelter Box, Lee, which I know will please you. They support of Brittany Burt Woodrum's climb of all of Colorado's 14ers, and many of us in this district got to have programs and where she got to feature Shelter Box. How wonderful. And it goes on and on. They gave to the foundation, they did fellowship, they did leadership development. I know it's a club effort and it's club achievement, but it starts with a great president. And Jillian, you're a great president. Congratulations. And finally, to our large club of the year. And this is being awarded to the Rotary Club of Cheyenne, Wyoming. They have demonstrated everything that this year's logo, Rotary Opens Opportunities, was meant to include. They took the lead in virtual meeting platform, opening the opportunity for members and guests to maintain connections from the very beginning of the pandemic and led the way to safely returning to in-person hybrid meetings. Throughout the pandemic, this club maintained a consistent membership number. They received a $100,000 grant from Microsoft TechSpark which opened the opportunity to install about 50 gutter bins, which will assist in improving groundwater quality both in Cheyenne and downstream throughout Wyoming. They partnered with local businesses. The Rotary Club of Cheyenne opened the door to providing a new free online computer coding class to high school students throughout Wyoming. Through a partnership with the city, Rotary will begin planting trees in the apple orchard to help refurbish the Cheyenne Arboretum, a perfect tie-in to the ongoing multi-club project to provide character development books and programs to every second grader in Laramie County through the Andy and Elmer's Apple Dumpling Adventure Project. Additional club funds were used to support other local nonprofits that are meeting the needs of our community. They actively participate in district leadership, including the strong leadership of the district's Cowboy Country Youth Exchange. 48% of the club's 163 members hold the Paul Harris Fellowship designation, and 10% of the members are in the Paul Harris Society. Combined donations directly from the club and from individual members, this club gave an average of over $150 per member to the annual fund of the Rotary Foundation. And through the Rotary Club of Cheyenne, Rotary opens doors, opportunities for their local community, the world at large, and for Rotary members. And they even had a meeting where they convinced President Holger Knock to come and be their speaker at the Rotary Club of Cheyenne. So congratulations, Rotary Club of Cheyenne, for being our outstanding large club for 2021. And I actually think what we're getting is a feed. They're having their president's gavel night tonight where they're passing the gavel. So they're joining us at the district conference. Hello, Cheyenne. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. To move on to some more district Rotarian awards. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the microphone over to District Governor nominee designate Steve Sainert from Steamboat Springs, who is going to be giving our thanks to the outgoing assistant governors whose terms are expiring at the end of this Rotary year. So Steve.
Well, thank you, Chris. I was hoping you weren't expecting me to step up. I couldn't hear you speak, but thank you for giving me the podium here for a minute. Last night, District Governor Chris acknowledged the continuing assistant governors, but we also have 6 outgoing assistant governors that I will acknowledge today. Holland Dool served the clubs of Sheridan, Ranchester, Dayton, and Buffalo. He stepped in an area where it's hard to find assistant governors. He's a good-humored Rotarian who's a joy to serve with. Bob Eatman served the Loveland clubs. He has worked very hard to start the Berthoud Satellite Club. Thank you, Bob. Ted Cluett. Ted and I were assistant governors in District 5450 together. And I know him to be a very effective assistant governor. Thank you, Ted. Julie Johnson Hafner from Greeley stepped in to serve again as an assistant governor after John Stewart. This is her 2nd term as an assistant governor. Lynn Vale served the Gillette and Gillette Energy clubs. And Dale Cottam served the clubs in Southwest Wyoming and is also stepping down as an assistant governor. Thanks to all of you for your service to the clubs that you worked with and for your service to our district. It's also my pleasure to acknowledge PDG Barbara Redder from the Casper 5 Trails Club. Barbara served a very important role as vice governor during the 2nd term of District Governor Chris Woodruff. Of course, she will continue her great work with Rotary as a trainer for upcoming district governors like me in the combined zones of 26 and 27. Barbara, thank you for your service to Rotary during this very difficult year. We couldn't have made it this year successfully without your help. Thank you, and thanks to all of the outgoing officers of this district. And back to you, Chris.
you, Steve. And I hope you all in the district, you've had a chance at this conference to get to see on camera the leadership team that's been working and the leadership that's coming up in the district. You've seen District Governor-elect Cherie Shiel. You've seen District Governor nominee Lee Vera Nelson, and now you get to see District Governor nominee designate Steve Sainer. These are the upcoming leaders in the governor line, and they're tremendous leaders, and the future looks so bright with them working together as such a fantastic team for this district. And so good things are going to be coming. And I think that you will agree with me that we do have a special group of leaders in this district, and I can tell you they've been absolutely wonderful to work with. So thank you all. And thank you, Steve, for taking care of that. So now we get to move into one of the funnest parts of being the district governor, and that's giving the district awards for achievement by Rotarians that have benefited the district. And I've got a couple of service above self awards. And as you heard last night, Director-elect Vicky noted that past District Governor Stu Palmer was the recipient of the Rotary International Service Above Self Award. And you need to understand how prestigious that award is. It was an incredible honor for PDG Stu, for his club, the Rotary Club of Jackson Hole, and for District 5440, because in any given Rotary year, there's a maximum of 150 service above self awards that are awarded worldwide by the Rotary Board and the Rotary International Board of Directors. And Stuart was one of the people that received that award earlier this year. We were able to work out having President Holger Knock actually present the award to him virtually at his club in Jackson Hole. And what was so nice about that was when President Holder had been here with us in District 5440 at Barb Redder's district conference in Casper. But at the same time, Holger and his wife Suzanne had gone to Jackson Hole and spent time with Stu and Susie at their home in Jackson Hole. So it was like receiving it from a friend, and that was just wonderful. But Stu has really showed that example of leadership and service through his whole life. And that was really why that award was given to him. And I spoke to our current director, Jarita Solari from Southern California, because she was one of the people who helped make that decision. And she said that Stu was exceptional and amazing. And it was she said it was a no-brainer that he was going to receive that award. So congratulations again, past District Governor Stu Palmer, on receiving the Rotary International Service Above Self Award. Now, we also give a Service Above Self Award to special Rotarians in our district, and this is a district Service Above Self Award. And we've got 2 Rotarians this year that we have decided really deserve this award, and I'm going to tell you about both of them. Interestingly enough, and through no fault of any particular reason, they're both from the Rotary Club of Loveland, but for very different areas of service to Rotary. Our first recipient is Jim Epstein. And Jim Epstein has been a Rotary Club member in the Rotary Club of Loveland since 2005. He is a Paul Harris Fellow +6, and is a member of the Bequest Society. He has served his own home club in many capacities. He's an engineer by training. He's also a veteran, having served as an officer in the Army in Korea. He had a career at Hewlett-Packard. He taught technology management and started and managed 3 nonprofit organizations. He is married to Catherine, and they have 3 sons. Jim has served our district as the District Rotary Foundation Chair, the Grants Chair, and Jim has been the go-to guy and the authority on the Rotary Foundation. And any of you that have ever worked with district grants or Rotary grants in the last several years, Jim is the man you would call, because he was the man with the answers. And I will tell you, as a district governor, if somebody asked me a question about grants or the foundation, I would have them call Jim Epstein, because he was the one who could give them the true information. Jim has trained several times at district assemblies and pets on the foundation, and he was instrumental in administering the district designated funds and district grants. He's always been easy to contact and very easy to work with on a very complex subject. He stepped back from being the grants chair this year and has been working with his successor, Robin Steele, to continue the great work in overseeing the grants process. Please help me to thank and acknowledge Jim Epstein as we award him the District 5440 Service Above Self Award. Jim?
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much. I remember when I joined Rotary, people asked me why I joined Rotary. And I said it was to work on great projects with great people to make a difference. And so far, it has been above my initial expectations by quite a bit. Thank you again.
For your service, and thank you for everything that you continue to do for Rotary. The second person that we are awarding a Service Above Self Award is also from the Rotary Loveland Rotary Club. He joined the club in 2008. His name is Tom Kerrigan. He's a Paul Harris Fellow. He's had a career in promotional sales items. His wife is Corinne. But the reason that we are acknowledging Tom is that in 2012, he was instrumental in creating and sustaining Kids Pack, which is was a program of the Loveland Rotary Foundation that packs and provides supplemental food to students in the Thompson School District. Kids Pack members working together with the Larimer Food Bank pack and deliver food to over 41 sites in Loveland and Berthoud, serving more than 750 students. This supplemental food especially helps on weekends when students do not have access to school meals and are often food insecure. During 2020, Kids Pack provided 27,500 food bags with 165,000 meals. This year, Kids Pack is moving to its own 501c3 status and is moving into a larger space at the Forge campus in Loveland. Tom, one of the great memories that Carolyn and I have from our first year in Governor Land was to go over to Kids Pack and actually participate in a packing up of one of their weekly projects. And I have never seen such a tremendous organization, people coming together, knowing exactly what to do. And in a half an hour, 450 packs were often ready to go. Just tremendous. And it was so much fun and such an example of people of action making a difference. So please help me to thank and acknowledge Tom Kerrigan as we award him the District 5440 Service Above Self Award. Tom?
Thank you very much, Chris. It's a great honor to accept this, but truthfully, the 25 Rotarians and over 200 community volunteers that make Kids Pack hum each week, we're so blessed that the community supports us and that we've brought so much positive image of Loveland Rotary to our community. And I really want to make a special thank you to Cindy Gouldy, who in 2012, 2011 came and said, could you step up and help us get this off the ground, as it was just beginning with a small number of schools. I believe it was 3 schools and 34 kids. And now look where we've been able to help so many and feed the future. So to the community, to all the Rotarians, thank you. This is a big weekend. We're moving into the Forge, where we'll have about 5,000 feet to carry on our work, and to the entire Loveland community for their support, and all those in Rotary who helped us build this bridge to fight hunger in our community. Thank you very much.
Tom, thank you. And we look forward to all of the wonderful things that Kids Pack is going to continue to do for kids in the Thompson Valley School District and in your part of Colorado. So thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. It's giving Rotary such a great name and doing such good in the world. So we appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much. Now we're going to move on to the Charlie Peterson Service to Rotary Award. Last year, you will all recall that we gave this award for the very first time in acknowledgement of the passing of Charlie Peterson in 2019. Charlie was our very first district governor in District 5440 when we got renumbered and became 5440. Charlie started his career as a pharmacist over here in Greeley, ultimately winding up in Fort Collins. His final club was the Fort Collins Breakfast Club. Charlie served as our very first district governor in this district back in the 90s. And after that time, he continued to give to Rotary in extraordinary ways. Charlie was a mentor. Charlie was a visionary. He was at every visioning session that we had for, I think, 7 years straight. And he really exemplified what continuing to give to Rotary meant. It was part of his DNA, and he was an inspiration to so many of us. And I thought last year that we really needed to keep that alive. We needed our new Rotarians in our district to know who Charlie Peterson was and what he did and what he stood for. So last year, this very first inaugural award went to Diane Knight in the Fort Collins Breakfast Club, and very well deserved. This year, I am so pleased and honored to award the Charlie Peterson Service to Rotary Award to past District Governor Barbara Redder from the Casper Five Trails Club. Barb.
Thank you so much, Governor Chris. This is such an honor. Of course, the first thing I have to do is thank my husband, Don, for continuing to support me in my ongoing Rotary adventures. But I do think about Charlie when I first started going around and doing things with Rotary, and people would find out, oh, you're from District 5440? How's Charlie Peterson? You know, we know Charlie. What's Charlie doing these days? So everybody knew Charlie, and he really represented our district so well, and it's such an honor to receive this award. As Chris said, after he served as governor, he continued to do things within the district and through Rotary. And I'd like to think that as we go forward and as things change, that Charlie would continue to support all of us in everything that we're doing. So thank you again, Chris. This is such an honor.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Barb, so much. And thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for your service as vice governor. Thank you for being your club president last year. Immediately after, 2 years after being a district governor, you decided to get back in the trenches and be a club president. She continues to give to Rotary, but it's a wonderful way for us to continue to remember Charlie and to keep his legacy alive in our district. So our final major award that I want to talk about is the Rotarian of the Year for District 5440. And this is one of those awards that every district governor jealously guards the secret on. We do receive nominations for this, but this award is designed to really acknowledge and honor a special Rotarian who has given extraordinary service in the past year to our district and Rotarians in this district. This year, I am absolutely pleased and honored to acknowledge this Rotarian. This Rotarian is known to many of you. This Rotarian is famous for many reasons, could be called infamous for other reasons, but this Rotarian was a past district governor in this district, been involved in visioning, been involved in training, been involved in wood carving. Let me think, what else would I say? Oh, he likes to tipple once in a while. He is an incredible cheerleader for Rotary, but this year he had an extraordinary job as the lead trainer of High Country Pets. This year we did a virtual pets, and our entire curriculum had to be shifted over from an in-person to a virtual. And it was an incredible amount of work, an incredible effort to provide a meaningful training experience for our incoming presidents in 6 of our districts in the High Country Pets area. He did it with grace, he did it with joy, and he did it with an incredible positive attitude. He is a fantastic Rotarian. He is a fantastic representative of our district. I am pleased and honored to award the 2021 Rotarian of the Year to past District Governor Phil Murphy from the Fort Collins Breakfast.
Well, first of all, Chris, thank you very much. It is indeed an honor to receive this award from this district. I'm also understand that there are a lot of very deserving people out there. And I really kind of know that there may be things that people are doing that are more deserving than the things that I've done, but I'm honored to receive this award. I'm thankful for all the help that I've received from my fellow Rotarians in this district and everything else. And well, I just truly don't know what else to say about this, except this award will live in my heart. And I appreciate the honor that you've given me by naming the District 5440 Rotarian of the Year. Obviously, as many as you know, when you give me the microphone, I could go on for a long time, but I won't do that to you, Chris. I know you've got a time schedule, but truly know that I am very grateful to you. I'm grateful to all the work you've done and all the people that have helped you throughout the year. Those are really, and yourself are really what I consider the Rotarians of the Year. Thank you very much.
Woo! Phil, and we have a wonderful, in our district, we have this Rotarian of the Year, Paul Harris bust, and it's engraved with all of the members who have received this from back in 2002, starting off with George McIlvain. Last year was Karen Trussler in the Rotary Club of Windsor. And this year we've added for 2020, 2021, Phil Murphy. And he will get to keep this in his house until next year when Cherie will name the Rotarian of the Year at our district conference in Lander. So I'll be getting this to you, Phil, and you and Sarah can display this proudly at your home. But thank you again for everything that you've done. I've got a few more people I'd like to thank before I make my closing remarks. You know, we're doing remarkably well as far as staying on schedule. This group that I have had the pleasure of working with this year has been extraordinary. And we've done something new in Rotary, and you heard our director-elect talk about it. The team approach that we took this year has been extraordinary. And I want to thank Vice Governor and part of the DG team, Barb Redder, District Governor-elect Cherie Scheel, District Governor nominee and membership chair, Lee Vera Nelson, and District Governor nominee designate and now taking over the work in revamping the Rotary Leadership Institute, Steve Sainert from Steamboat Springs. We have been meeting on a weekly basis. We have been making decisions together for the district on a long-range basis. We're doing something different in Rotary. And it has been an absolute joy for me as the governor to be able to work with them. I've got a sounding board of people to say, you know, that's a terrible idea, or no, we should do this. Have you thought about? And be able to look beyond just the end of this Rotary year and be looking to what happens next year and the year after and the year after. And each member of this team has taken on responsibilities for parts of what we're doing that they are in charge of. So this year, for example, Cherie really took on the issue of visioning and strategic planning, and she ran with it, and she was the lead on our team in making that revamp happen. Lee was working on membership for the district. She had been doing that, but she also took the responsibility of finding our new membership chair for next year, who is John Griffith from the Casper Rotary Club. Thank you, John. And has continued to keep the idea of membership alive on our team to make sure we are not forgetting that. And Steve Sainert brings an incredible list of skills from his experience in District 5450 as president of the Steamboat Springs Club. He's taken on RLI. He jumped in with us when he got named back in January, and he's just jumped in and been a part of our group since that time. And I'm hopeful that this pattern will continue so that we can continue to provide a longer range leadership for the district. That's got to be better for the clubs. I know that all of the people on this team believe that the job of our district is to make your job as clubs easier, to help provide resources and training, and as whatever assistance you all ask us for. We are not here to tell you how to be Rotarians or how to run a Rotary Club. We're here to be a resource for you and to celebrate when you have successes, because that's what makes Rotary great. I also need to thank the folks that have helped us with this conference. Most especially, I want to thank Lori Klatt from Casper, who helped us with our graphics. But we could not have done this without Brian and Kim Larson from the Greeley Club and the Greeley Centennial Rotary Club. They are both dear friends. They are fellow Rotarians. You know, the fact that I was district governor for 2 years also means that they agreed to be conference chairs for 2 years. And it's been incredibly frustrating to go through the planning and organizing and getting everything put together for last year and then have to stop it and postpone it and then do something again. And I can't tell you, Kim, how pleased I am and how thankful I am that you and Brian were so generous in sponsoring Craig McFarland to speak with us. He was a marvelous speaker. I'm so glad he finally got to come and speak to our group. So thank you for everything that you have done. Thank you for the service that you and Brian give to Rotary and all of the stuff that you bring to us. So thank you again for all of that work. And I want to thank everybody else who worked with us last year to start getting things ready for the conference. We started and we stopped. I hope nobody ever has to do that again. So, and then I also need to thank our district administrator, Kelly Kegris. Kelly works behind the scenes. Honest to God, we couldn't do it without her. And Kelly is marvelous. You all know that in working with her. She is the source of information. She is the go-to lady. I will tell you that Kelly is not shy in telling you if you are off base, and she will let you know double quick. And it's normally a really good thing that she does. She keeps us on the straight and narrow and on track and making sure we don't go. And she's the repository of institutional knowledge for our district, and every district governor appreciates that. And I just want to thank you, Kelly, again, for everything that you do, for all of the giving, and thank you for being a Rotarian in the Greeley After Hours Rotary Club.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
And now to my most important thank you. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about how to say this. I would not have been able to be district governor if it were not for my wonderful partner, Carolyn. She won't come up on camera. She's minding the computer, but we agreed that we would take on this journey together, and we did. And she has her own Rotary voice. She's been a Rotarian for over 10 years. She was the president of the Greeley After Hours Club before I was the president of the Greeley Centennial Rotary Club. She has trained, she has planned, she can do everything. And the reason that we had a great year and great 2 years was because she was there with me. She's my wife of 41 years. We're going to be celebrating 42 years come October. And this would have been a very different kind of experience. I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. She is a joy. She never says no, and she can do anything. Right now, she's running one of the computers to make sure that this whole thing comes off. She does it in her work. She does it in our family. She does it for people around her. And she has got the most giving heart of anybody I have ever met. So Carolyn, I love you. I thank you. Thank you for doing this with me. And I look forward to the time when we can do other things. And we're going to get to go and be trainers for the district governors coming up in November. And she's taken on the partner program. So she's the lead of that. She never says no, and she's always looking for a new thing. And you heard today what she did with that partner project on the Navajo Nation. You want to talk about impacting people's lives in a complete way? That was all Carolyn. And so thank you for that. Thank you for everything that you have done. And thank you for being such a fantastic Rotarian. I love you.